Oh man. Okay, so I've tried to make this video 3 times now, and I just kind of keep getting sidetracked and going off on different tangents and stuff. So if that happens throughout this video, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do my best to stay on track and talk about things that actually matter. If you guys are new here, my name is Silent. I post gaming videos 9 times out of 10. However, I do occasionally have these off-topic videos like this one that you're watching, where I talk about stuff that I kind of care about and just want to put my opinion and stuff out there. For those of you who don't know, Stranger Things has recently come to its conclusion with its episode 8 finale of season 5. And surprise, surprise, it was dog shit. For those of you who think it was good, whatever, you're entitled to your own opinion. You're also entitled to be entirely wrong, which you are. It's just crazy because there's so much stuff that they left unanswered, and then there was all this conformity gate stuff. I made a video on that if you guys want to go and watch it. There was all these different theories and stuff that people had come up with and had tied together because there was inconsistencies in the finale, right? So there was the dial that changed colors in a story that is designed to make the viewer try to catch inaccuracies, by the way. Literally, Vecna's whole thing was that he attacks memories and isn't 100% right all the time. Hence the scene where Holly literally notices that something is different from memory to memory, and it is one of the things that helps them escape that memory in Vecna's mind, right? So naturally, as viewers, we're going to go out of our way and try to find inconsistencies because the story literally builds for that to happen. But apparently that's just not what you're supposed to do because it just creates more confusion. There's a dial that changes colors. There's a door that flips around. There's the What's It games that are in the background of different places. What's It being Mr. What's It, the actual like alias for Vecna, Henry, one. How many fucking names does a guy need to have? Who knows? The inaccuracies basically created this whole sub genre of people to kind of come together to try to piece these little puzzle pieces together. And the only conclusion that people could come up with was that there was another episode or there was some sort of vault or compilation of scenes that had been cut out of the finale and out of the last couple of episodes from the season that we were missing, and they were going to release at a later time. That episode was the hidden episode or the filled in blank episodes were supposed to be posted on the 7th. Obviously the 7th came and gone, and we didn't get anything. People started to kind of grasp onto the fact that they had announced that a documentary was coming out, and upon the release of the documentary, it somehow made things 10 times worse. Not one question was answered. In fact, they just basically opened up our mouths, tilted our heads back, stood on top of us, squatted down, and took a steaming shit down our throat, and then told us to just get the fuck over it, chew up, and swallow. It's kind of crazy, actually, genuinely. It's a little bit disorienting. It's a little bit crazy. Literally in that documentary, this was probably one of the worst pieces of media that they could have put out regarding the finale and the show, because it really gives you an in-depth look of just how deluded they were throughout the whole process of this. It's kind of crazy. Literally, like in one of the clips of the documentary, one of the writers looks at the camera and says, "Yeah, we're in the middle of filming episode 8, the finale, but it's not being finished written yet, so we really don't know what we're doing." That's almost bar for bar what they said. One of the writers said that in the documentary, that they weren't even done writing the finale while they're filming it. How does Netflix even okay that? How does Netflix give you a $400 million budget for something that you haven't even given them a structured plan of how you're going to do this? It doesn't make any sense. How do you get that much money from a multi-billion-dollar corporation without having your game plan laid out? That is so bizarre and crazy to me, bro. Like, it genuinely almost feels like money laundering. It really does. Because there's no way that you don't have this stuff done and out on paper at minimum before you're sitting there filming it scene by scene. You're just making shit up as you go. And then later, another thing that comes up that really just kind of caught my attention, and just really threw that curveball in there. One of the biggest things that people had a problem with throughout the finale was during the final fight scene between Vecna and the crew. They're in Dimension X, which is the home turf of Demogorgons, Demobats, and Demodogs. All these different, high intensity, very dangerous creatures that we've been shown throughout the entire series. This is supposed to be their home turf, and there's just nothing in there. It is literally just a void of life, aside from Henry and the Mind Flayer itself. So naturally, people beg the question, once they see that, where is all of this stuff? And the crazy shit is that it's literally in the documentary. They talk about it. One of the writers bring up the fact that there should be something in this dimension for them to fight. And one of the Duffer Brothers just sits there and is like, yeah. No. Like, actually. He's just like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but I think I'd rather just go fuck myself, actually, than actually listen to anything that you have to say. Like, literally, the Duffer Brother, whichever one it was, because you can't tell them the fuck apart. Nobody genuinely cares enough to know. But, like, it's so crazy to me how one of your head writers for your fucking show comes to you and is like, hey, I think it's a bit odd that there's no demos, like no Demogorgons, Demobats, Demodogs in this dimension where they're supposed to come from. Maybe we should just like throw a couple of them in there. And like you as one of like, you just shrug it off and pretend like people aren't going to have a problem with that. It's so fucking bizarre, bro. Originally that it was going to be like a Wes Craven style documentary. It was something that was that last little bit of hope that I had for them to fix the finale, because I'm telling you, bro, the finale just wasn't it. It's not good. It does not hold to what the story of Stranger Things is. It is genuinely as if it was told by ChatGPT, which is another problem that comes up in the finale, in the documentary. Literally within the documentary, there is a scene where it shows one of the computers that the writers is using, and there's 3 tabs of ChatGPT open on his computer. Now, a lot of people are using copium to say that that doesn't necessarily mean that they're using ChatGPT to write their story. That is, in fact, 110% what that means. There's literally nothing else that they could have been using it for. Even if they were using ChatGPT to track statistics or track, a compilation of stuff so that way they could fit the story together better, it literally doesn't matter. You should have a journal, a logbook of something of some sorts that fucking literally has the lore of your show already. You've had 4 seasons worth of scripts. It doesn't make any sense. You have it all on paper already. What the fuck are you using ChatGPT for? The Duffer Brothers just should not produce anything ever again. It is so insane to me how you can have a $400 million budget for one season of a show and do this much damage to its entire reputation. That is a generational fumble right there. You had almost $500 million and didn't do anything with it, by the way. You made some cool scenes here and there, but ultimately you ruined your own story. The whole thing is that they're sitting there talking, and the one thing that they knew about season 5's finale, the one thing that they knew that they wanted to do was kill 11. That's what they knew. They didn't necessarily say that they wanted to kill her. They knew that 11 just needed to disappear, right? So they didn't want 11 in the end of the story because they think that she symbolizes magic and this need for adventure, when the whole premise of the story is that it's for the purpose of an adventure. And I get that it's a coming of age story, but you don't build a character like 11, somebody who is hurt and abused and taken advantage of and is genuinely just a really good person, right? Does her absolute best to keep her family and friends safe. She comes up out from nothing and then gains this magical set of friends and family, just to have them ripped away at the end because she's either dead or she's just fucking had to run away from them. Really? Your number one character, you just threw her to the wind like she didn't matter. Because she represents childhood magic. I fail to place how the fuck those correlate. Like, how do you build this character outside of her having these powers, by the way? She's just a normal person who has been taken advantage of. So you're saying that just because she has these powers, she has no value whatsoever because she's different. Because she just has magical abilities, and her being there with the people in the end insinuate that they'll never be free of these adventures and that they'll never be able to live a normal life. What the fuck are you smoking, bro? Genuinely, that is the craziest little, like, I just don't want this character to live no matter what. Like, I don't want them. Like, it's fine, bro. It really is if you wanted her to die or whatever, but you could have done it in a way that actually made sense. She literally killed herself for almost no reason. Like, I get that, like, she was trying to save her friends because the military was after her. But there's no guarantee that they would have continued to go after her if her blood didn't work for whatever. Like, there was ways around it. Many people on TikTok have rewritten the end of your story, Duffer Brothers, with 11 alive, and it works out 1,000 times better than the bullshit that you put out on paper. It's not only did you fumble once with the finale, but then you fumbled a second time when you didn't release any extra footage after everybody put together this convoluted story that you guys clearly had no fucking clue of. And all of this stuff just randomly happened to line up by chance. You guys really did genuinely put a blank fucking poster in the finale, by the way. How that made that through that many levels of production is crazy. How you guys even didn't realize that the fucking poster was blank in the graduation ceremony is insane. But whatever. So you guys fumbled once with the finale. You guys fumbled a second time when you didn't release anything on the 7th. Then on the 12th, you fumbled a third time, generationally, by releasing a documentary that just made people even more sure of the fact that you guys had no fucking clue what you were doing with this show. $400 million down the drain, just bombed. I have never seen somebody burn their reputation faster than with the release of that documentary. This was supposed to be a story that you guys told that would have had a concrete ending. And it doesn't need to be all happy, sunshine and butterflies. It doesn't. Okay? But there's certain characters that do and don't deserve. Like, why does Jonathan, mainly Jonathan, because what the fuck does Jonathan serve? What does Jonathan serve to the story? Jonathan is just kind of a sideline character. The dude who plays Jonathan is a great actor. I'm not saying anything about that, but what I'm saying is Jonathan's character as a whole, he's just kind of lackluster, man. If there was any of your characters to die in place of 11, Jonathan could have been it. I mean, you could have picked out like 6 other people that you could have. And like the whole thing of it too is it's just crazy because not only did you guys not make a good ending, but you pretended like you did throughout most of your publicity for it. You guys were saying it was going to be a dark Christmas and there was going to be 5 deaths that we weren't ready for. And it was all of this other stuff and not one person died. You left one of the only people who anybody actually cared about, 11, her death ambiguous on purpose. So that way you guys can come back to it 5 or 10 years down the road when you're going broke for another cash grab. Literally the only message that you're sending to anybody is that it doesn't matter what story you have to tell. The only thing that matters in the end is how much money you make while you're telling it. Like, you guys suck the creativity out of fucking everything when you actually boil it down to what message you guys sent out by making the finale the way that you did. Obviously, I care a lot about Stranger Things and the way that the story was. It's just one of those things that, you know, it was a story that I was really attached to, that a lot of people were really attached to. And I know that I'm not the only person who feels this way about the story. I just wanted to get out here and sort of voice a quick opinion on it because it is just genuinely crazy how they fumbled a $400 million budget, one season finale, that hard, and then fucked all over it a second time by releasing a documentary that people thought, that they thought was genuinely going to make it better. Even though it literally shows the opposite, that you guys just had your head so far up your ass that it was almost like you didn't care whether you shit all over your own story, just as long as you made money, which, congratulations, you did. You made a lot of money, especially off of everybody rewatching the series, trying to piece all this stuff together. If nothing can be said about you as directors, Duffer Brothers, at least you'll go down in history as being some of the people who managed to trick enough people to make millions of dollars. You may not be good directors, but at least you made money, right? That's what matters most of all. Not the story that you told, not the fact that you had one of the biggest IPs on Netflix ever and could have went out with a bang. You just decided to take the safe way out so that way you can bring it back in 5 to 10 years. How much do you guys want to bet that in, like, I don't know, we'll say 2030, maybe 2032 or something like that, we'll have another Stranger Things with Millie Bobby Brown as playing as 11 and all these other things, just to bring money back in, just because our generation and the kids who have watched it when they were actually kids are now like our age. They're going to come back to it just for another like $400 million cash grab or something like that. Once they start going broke, because I'll go ahead and put an image up on the screen of what the Duffer Brothers pretty much rushed the whole season finale for to go and film. It's basically Stranger Things, but with old people in a fucking retirement home. Yeah, because that's going to get a lot of clicks. Anyways, I just wanted to voice my frustrations for it and how Conformity Gate not only failed us once, but it failed us twice. How the Duffer Brothers just completely shit all over their own show, all for the sake of making a bag. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.